Hey guys, welcome back. My name is Carlos, and this is my oil painting. If you were watching our last stream, we worked on blocking in where these little balconies come out here, these little wrought iron, almost like fire escape balconies. And today I've masked it off in a different configuration so I could work on some doors and windows. I decided to expand the universe that lives within this painting to give just some more narrative of what's going on. So I want to put a door over here, I want to put a window here, a door here, maybe a bigger picture window here where you can see into the business. Just give it some more, universe, some more life to it. And if you've been following along, you know that I'm relearning how to do oil painting just by reteaching myself and experimenting with different things. And one of the things I tried to come up with, and we'll see if it works, is after I put these lines down on our last session, I would paint around them to get my perspective, pull the tape off, and then have to do like a bunch of fixing work to like really figure it out. Whereas like it would have been easier just to like trace with a pencil or something, where these perspective lines are gonna go. But I don't want to do the pencil thing, it's a little too easy, and I like trying to figure out ways to do it creatively. So what I came up with is I'm going to use a pin, like for sewing, and I'm going to just kind of scratch in these perspective lines and then pull the tape off and have a sharper idea of where these features go without having to commit any paint to the panel yet. And then I will be able to go in and paint. So that's the first thing we're going to do here is scratch in some lines. So, also if you look down here, you can see my paint palette is finally cleaned up and not as disheveled. I'm happy that I got a chance to do that. I'm going to try to keep it clean from here on out because it's just been madness. Maybe that's part of the charm of what I'm doing, but learning along the way, that's what we're doing, right? So, let's see. I have not learned my lesson as far as drinking bubbly water before we start, so I will be catching burps probably the entire stream. But again, fail with me, right? Alright, so I'm going to take my little push pin I have here. I don't know if it's even showing up on camera. Take my little pin, and we're going to come in here and just start scratching in some lines and figure out where these features are going to go. So I have, this is my vanishing point right above our ballerina's heart. That's the idea. And all of these lines are going to lead in that direction. So I wanted to put a door here. I want a window here. I'll have like a little like open sign right over here. And I want a window and a door over here. So let me start over this way. And I'm going to try to lean in, whereas in a way that I don't obstruct the view of the camera. But you can see what I'm doing here. And again, this is a technique that I'm making up on the fly for. I came up with this today as I was setting up the stream here. So what we want to do, are we there? Are we good? All right, what I want to do is just kind of scratch in where these lines are going to go. Like scoring it basically. And then we can always paint over like the scratches, you know what I mean? But it won't be as egregious looking because it won't have so much paint floating around that we gotta then blend in, blend out, lift, or whatnot. And all I'm doing is indicating the perimeter of the shape of this door. I also decided a couple of streams ago when I was searching my conscience of what I did not like about the painting so far, I decided I want to add a lot more light effects because I want to use this opportunity with this series to show what I'm capable of, but also what oil painting is capable of doing, different directions we can push all this stuff. So I really think it'll be nice and helpful if I can get some glowy, reflective effects. All right, so I scratched in where that door is. I'm gonna really gently pick up this tape and just see if my score marks took or not. Oh wow, that's really light. Alrighty, let me go ahead and to a little sharper, a little bit more pressure. I suppose I could always do the pencil trick, I just don't really want to. Okay, I'm going to pause our stream for just a second and go get a better tool. Okay, I'm back. Edit that out. So I grabbed a couple of tools. I grabbed a skewer, like you would use for shish kebab. Clipped it over here, so it's just a handheld size. And that should be able to give me enough of a score. But then I also grabbed an X-Acto blade, just in case the skewer doesn't give me the effect I'm looking for, right? Okay. So, let me lean back in and start to re-pull these and see how we like it. Oh, I can already see it. Can you guys see it on the camera? Heck yeah. All right. And this will give me a nice edge. And this will show me, when I peel the tape off, where this door is going to go. There's going to be some little jumps here and there, but that's just the nature of taping this stuff off. And then I want like an open sign and then a window for this whole section. We're going to lose this graffiti, which I'm bummed out about because I was looking forward to doing that this entire painting. We'll make the window this high. But it's worth it. For a better composition and a better world, if you will, it's definitely worth it. All right, where did I go? How high up did I want this window to go? Open sign, then window just here. Should be, no, we're gonna make it this high, that's right. That is right. Hopefully you guys can see me doing this, scoring this paint, and it's gonna make a lot more sense, obviously, when I peel this tape off. All right, so I have that window, that door. So now I'm gonna come over on this side and we're gonna put in another door and work on another window. I've been putting this window in here since we started this painting, and because I've always known that I wanted to have a little window there. It was something I saw in the original AI generated reference photo, but didn't really, like it was AI, so it was a warbly shape. But I was like, oh, I think it could be a window. I don't know. So anyway, I decided from Jump Street that I wanted to have a window right there. So I will scratch in the shape of this window. This will be the top of that window sill. So this is the portal for the window. And then we'll have to do some additional math to figure out the ledge down here. I feel like it should just come out this way a little bit, and then straight down, and then back this way, and then maybe up and down there. Let's find out. I'm just gonna have it protrude a little bit further right there. Yeah, that should be good. I didn't need to double line that, but that's fine. All right, and then I want a door over here. Let's score the door. And then we can go right to the tape peel, right? Because yeah, we got my window, door, window, door. All right, let's go ahead and peel this tape off and see what we got going on. It's a little earlier in the video than last time for peeling tape. Hope you guys have been enjoying yourselves. Hope October's treating you good so far. I would tape this up on camera, but it's like, it's math, which isn't always the most exciting thing to see. But I mean, it's fine. It's part of painting, right? But still, I took about an hour to figure out the math and tape everything off, so I don't think that would make for the most exciting stream. Alright. Let's peel this tape off and see what we got. Oh, that's nice. Oh, that's awesome. You guys can see it, the very faint outline. Man, I love when a good plan comes together. Woo! You see the very faint outline of this door jamb, and then really faint. Let me pull this up close to the camera. You can see just this little etch of where that window's gonna go. And I think I'm gonna make this a bar. It's gonna be a cool, hip little alleyway bar where you just walk right off the street to go into the door on the corner. And maybe in front of it, where we can't see obstructed here, could be like some construction barricades or something like that. But if you know about the local spot, you know this is where, and this is where all these dancers go to drink. You know, this is where the players go after the production's over. To wind down, they cut through the alley from stage door 1 and right over to the bar. All right, you can see the faint outline of my door over here, and obviously we knew that that window was there. But we got to do just a little bit of surgery on this windowsill now to figure out the math on that. Really, I just need to bring, I think, this ledge out. Yeah. And then this down like here. Yeah, I think that'll do, just for scratching that in. So let's start by doing some blocking in. I know that this is going to be door and window. I don't know what's going to be happening inside of this section yet. I don't know if there's another window on the opposite side that you can see all the way through to the street. That might be cool. I don't know if we're going to see bar patrons. I don't know if there's a bar where you look into the alley. That wouldn't really be the coolest view in New York City. Here I know it's going to be a stage door, so it's going to be very industrial looking. And then this window, I'm imagining it like it's an old building that used to have just like some bars in the window, but then behind that they've put an extra like actual window to bring it up to code, but they decided just for safety of the performers to keep the bars up there. So I think I'll put the bars over here, but let's jump into here. This is the biggest mystery, and I want to make this whole process as difficult and uphill as possible. So let's jump in there and check out what's going on inside of that room. I'm gonna need like a flat brush because I want to have something that's got a good edge on it. Because we have to obliterate all of this that's in here right now and just turn it into a blank canvas for what comes next. So, using my imagination, I don't have a picture in my head, it just helps me close my eyes. Using my imagination, what would the inside of that bar be? I feel like it'd be warmer tones because it's going to have some warm lights, and I feel like it's going to be like a little hipstery, so like neutralized green? Yeah, I don't have any green in this painting, so I think like neutral tones, greens, and earth tones. So what I'll do is I'm going to grab a little bit of liquid here. This is my accelerator. This helps everything dry faster so I can do these sessions sooner. I'm just going to make a little pile of that there that I can mix through. And I need a base interior room warmth color, so I'll pull off of this yellow ochre. And then I'm going to need to dilute it. So bring in a little bit of this violet. When in doubt, add violet. This is like a purple gray. Alright, that's lighter, it's warmer, but it's in no way green like I thought I might want. So let me grab a little bit of Viridian. Yeah, now we're getting somewhere. That's a beautiful tone, beautiful neutral tone. So the reason I wanted to grab a brush that was like had a straight line on it is so that when I go in I can get nice tight corners indicated. So let me just kind of drop that, drop that, drop that. I'll try to go as straight as possible so I don't have to do too much tuning. After this last session here, I was really upset with how wonky and wobbly my brush strokes were. I just didn't have the focus required. You know what I mean? It's gonna be fun. I'm excited to paint the interior of this bar, this neighborhood bar. Maybe I'll have somebody eating a burger disinterested in what's going on outside, and then I'll have somebody else like oogling this ballerina very disrespectfully. What is oogle? I always thought it meant like leering and looking at somebody for too long or whatever, but it could be more of a physical thing, like a touch thing, rather than a visual. Not positive. Let's ogle some broads, as Danny DeVito would say. Cool. Sorry, I'm getting quiet. I just want to make sure that I have these tight edges in this window, you know? Once I get this filled in, I can go back to being a blabbermouth. Alright. Cool. Now I know that that window is there. So next thing we're going to do is indicate this door. And what kind of door do we want? I imagine it's got to be something with a window to look into. This is old construction, this alleyway, right? So it could be a heavy oak door with a window. It's definitely not a floor-to-ceiling glass door. That'd be ridiculous. And even this window, I think, should have some bars in it. Well, maybe just the window frame will be enough to preserve that security. Maybe I could do like a roll-up gate in front of the top of each of... That sounds kind of cool. We'll see when we get a little bit further along if that's the move. But let's just make it an oak door. That's the first thing I said, so... I'm gonna grab some of this sienna, this burnt sienna. I'm going to bring the chroma way down, making it a little bit more desaturated. I'm doing this all with my paintbrush. A lot of times I would prefer to do this with a palette knife, but I'm just feeling good about this paintbrush. And then it's catching a little bit of light from here, not much, so I'll retain a little, some of that glow. Though I bet if I have like some neons or something in this alleyway that it's going to change all of the colors of this. And that's cool. I'm excited to play with a lot of color on this painting. I have zero paint on my palm. See this? Perfectly open, even though I'm resting my hand on this canvas. That's what's important about this liquid stuff, is it gives you that opportunity to jump right back in and have a dry canvas the next day. And I know that acrylic can give you those effects, the fast drying effects, but I just find acrylic to be so much harder to work with because of how fast it dries. And it makes like chalky brush strokes on everything. And I'm not into the chalkiness of the brush strokes. You know, I'd rather have something that's smoother. And I don't want to see like the texture coming through of the canvas either. So, for those reasons, I'm out, as they would say on Shark Tank. Alright, so this is where my door is going to go. Just indicating a door, there's nothing there right now. And the edge of the building is actually this line that's just beyond it. And I'm in a predicament here. there's no way we would have the clarity of the sharpness of the edge of that door if it's that out of focus. So I'm going to tune up a different color that's closer to this to put around that side of the door, and then we can do some obliterating tricks. So in order to do that, I'm going to grab a different brush, something that's like smaller and more bright. Bright meaning flat. So I will use this guy here. My camera definitely won't focus, but something like that so I can get directly in that edge. And this has more of a cool purpley bluey tone, so I will grab a little French ultramarine blue, make a small pile down here, grab some of this violet gray to knock that down, grab a little bit of raw umber, alizarin crimson to warm it up. Alizarin crimson, raw umber, and French ultramarine blue I can make a decent black out of. So let me do that. This is really just a purple right now. Guess I need a whole lot more. The umber. Getting closer. I want it to be warm. It's a little bit too red, so I'll add some more blue. A little bit more. And this is just what I do. I just go through and I think about the color that I need, and I think, does it need to be warmer? Does it need to be cooler? Does it need to be brighter? Does it need to be darker? And you keep just mixing until you get... My lighting on my palette's deceiving us right now, until you get like a nice darker tone. So I'll just come in here and re-indicate this part of the door, or this edge of the building, I mean. And now we also have some perspective as to how long this alleyway is, because we can look at this door and imagine how far back this person is walking to then be about that tall to walk through the door. And as previously stated, we don't want this stuff to be too sharp back here, because it's supposed to be out of focus. We need those depth of field effects. So now that I have the edge of the brick building indicated here, I just pulled some more darks up that way. Now that I have that, what I'm going to do is grab a lighter tone for the street area, where the lit up part of town is, and then we'll blend the two together. We'll erase a lot of those edge lines. For this, I'm just using some warm white and a little bit of Naples yellow. And we're just gonna run right next to the wall. Yeah, it hadn't crossed my mind, because we're making this up as we go, but it's gonna be really helpful having this shape to know how far back this alley goes, because we know just through experience, like, how big is a door, so that'll help us figure that out. So now I have a little bit of that street glow there, and then that, I guess I should indicate the crosswalk too. Now that we have that, we can obliterate and blur this section out. So I'm going to set that painting brush to the side and grab a blending brush. This is called like a mop brush. And it's really soft, the way like a brush for doing makeup would be. And I'm not going to go left and right. I'm just going to keep going up and down, and I'm going to try to remove the three lines of the white, the purple, and the base color for my oak door. And I'm just putting light pressure. And just barely dancing off the tips of the bristles here. Soften that up. Might as well. You know what? This is a little bit too big of a mop for what I want to do right there. So let me find my smaller mop. brush sizes there to something a little bit more fine-tuned. And again, I'm just going back and forth, making sure to touch both of the new pigments at the same time, and then that'll blend that out. Yeah, there we go. Now it's becoming more out of focus, a little bit more ambiguous. So what we're able to see the difference in the color between the wall and the oak of the door now, but and it's not too contrasty, like they're disappearing into each other, so that's helpful. I did notice at the end of the last stream that this edge line here is sharp all the way to the corner, same over here, and I really don't want that, so why don't we go ahead and fix that right now while we're in here. I need to drop some lighter pigment down in the round area. I'm going to use a filbert brush. That's something that has like more of a rounded tip to it. And I need to make some cement tone. And something that's like a cool cement tone. Because I want a lot of my background to be cool and my foreground to be warm. Again, a lot of these colors are likely to change by the time we put like some lights and some lighting effects in here. Oh, that's gonna be way too bright, right? It's close. It's close enough. All right, so what we're gonna do is same as we did. We're gonna put it right near our new pigment so that we can just blur it all out. Now come through this brush and just obliterate. Just kind of move stuff into each other to really soften up that line so we don't have a hard edge back here. Yeah, that's very helpful to give it that depth that I'm looking for. Very helpful. Okay, so this color of the oak is so unnatural for the color harmonies of this, and the color of the window is basically just an under gray, and we're going to go over the top of that when that's all dry. So I'm cool with that for right now. Let's come over here and start blocking in these sections. I need to frame out this window and door. And the door I'm going to use... I'll go back to this brush that has like the edge to it so I can make sure I get some real sharp corners. Pull this color just because I like it. It's kind of like dark tone. Try to get a good vertical line here. Can you guys see the line that I carved in earlier? That I like scored in, and then I'm putting the shadow inside a little bit just to give like some interior depth to the thickness of the wall there. Okay, so we're good there. We all know that. What I'm really concerned with is this little ledge down here. So I'm gonna grab another small brush, maybe that bright brush I used earlier. I don't necessarily need this white tone anymore. So I'll just grab a whole bunch of my mixing medium, my liquid, and just kind of pull it off of the bristles there. Got a piece of cardboard right out of the screen here that I can scrape off the majority of that pigment with. So now I got a relatively clean brush. It doesn't have to be like clean it in the sink clean, just relatively clean. So we're good with that. And then I want to do like a cementy alleyway type tone, right? Let's say that this brick was painted over and over and over and over again. So it's got that thick, like candy coated paint, semi-gloss, high gloss. Let's call it a high gloss alleyway. But the ledge itself was replaced at some point in history since that original window was put in. So we'll have it a little bit more like a cement tone, like the ground here. And with this bright brush, I can get a little corner there. Just kind of pull that backwards. Not too shabby, not too shabby. A little shabby, but not too shabby. And then on the back end here, to show the depth, we'll just go a little bit darker. Yeah, not bad. And then I need a top facade, like the top facet, I mean, so we'll go lighter. So I'll take that, and then I'll pull in a little bit of a lighter tone. Because most of the light in this universe is coming from the sky, you know? So this is literally a block-in, no pun intended, because it's a cement block, but a block-in layer on just the cement ledge. And ultimately, when we come in and really detail everything, I'll be able to put, like, you know, some cracks in there. I'll tune the color to make sure it matches the harmonies of everything else here. But now I know where my ledge is going to be. I know where my window's going to be. I could literally put in some bars right now, but yeah, why not? Well, no, because I want the under layer underneath here to have like a window texture with like that metal like grate across it. So let me grab a deeper tone here. Definitely nothing that's black, but deeper, darker, but still neutralized like how the cement stuff is. Let's see, is that too light? Let's find out as a team. Oh, you know what? If I'm gonna do this the right way, if I'm gonna layer it, I need it to be like decently dark, and then the bars will be lighter in front of it. I'm just gonna cross back the other way. Indicate that little mesh, that wiry mesh that they would put over the glass, and then we can layer the bars in front of that. This would be suitable for letting it dry before doing this next part, but I don't know, man. What would you rather see? Me be impatient and get stuff in there, or me be a patient boy? I feel like being the patient boy is going to be a little bit more boring, so I'll go ahead and just start putting in some metal bars. Looking pretty dope. I'm gonna do some crossbars here. Now these have to go to the perspective point as well, but we don't have tape. Oh no, what are we gonna do? We're just gonna measure it with our paintbrush. If we know that that's where the line is to our perspective, then we're gonna come in up there. And then if we got another one up here, it's gonna be on a little bit more of an angle. There we go. There's a little bit of mesh texture behind where those bars are going to go. I'll jump in after that's dry and put in a shadow side on the bar, a highlight side on the bar, some reflective lights, and some of the mesh. Get really nerdy about it. I'll put on my magnifying glasses. Alright, so now that we know that that's there, it's time to plug in this door. And then that's probably going to do it for today. Same, I'll use this nice big wide flat brush, and this is like a rusty industrial door. I'll use the same tone that I have back here, but we'll put some other effects into this one because it'll be like I said, like a rusty industrial dark door. And as willy-nilly as I want to be about all this, I will absolutely not paint like stage 1 entrance on there until this is 100% dry and we can really trace out those letters so that they look perfect. I do love this industrial brown rusty door. It'll be a good way to make it feel nice and heavy without really having to, like, it's not going to be open, so we're not going to have like the weight of it indicated by like the thickness. But I'll put like some rivets on there too to really make it feel more metal. Not metal like death metal, but metal like a material. Paint right over those scratch marks just so. Yeah. Yeah, now we're cooking. This is getting exciting now. Okay, so what do we need to know about this door? Instead of just like leaving it as just that little block, we know it's heavy. We'll need a door pull for the handle, which we'll throw right here. And then we'll put some rivets around it. So I'm going to come back in with my smaller detail brush. My little wedge that I use to put the ledge and the bars in. And let's put a handle segment like right here. The first thing I want to do is put in the plate. And then I'll have the handle coming off of it. And then we'll do a deadbolt above it. How's that sound? I mean, I think it sounds great. Again, there's some horizontals here that we need to maintain perspective on. We have to have a pretty good guess of the respective lines at this point. On this angle here. I'm just trying to check to see how far forward she is versus where this door is. Because if this door hinges right here, when she stands up, her head's going to be like right there if this door is right next to us. So maybe we should move it in a little bit to give it some depth. Let's do that. I will use this wedge brush again. And no need to retape or to rescore the lines. Just use my eyeballs. As far as pulling this vertical, you guys can't see my hand off camera, but I'm just kind of running my pinky along the side of the canvas panel. It's not canvas, it's a wood panel, but just kind of trying to maintain a straight line there. Okay. So now we got that, and we have the world's widest door, so we're going to cut it in here. In order to do that, I will grab a brand new brush. I will grab a bunch of my medium, my liquid, my accelerating medium, and it's like a little eraser. So watch this. You can see on my canvas, or I'm sorry, on my palette, nothing is there. If I run through here, we'll just kind of pick it up, and then I'll grab a rag and buff it out. Let me slide this in so you can see better what I got going on. Look at that magic trick. You like that? Likely the most satisfying thing I'll do in this painting. Okay. That's better. Closer, warmer, getting somewhere. Now, let me try to... I'm not going to use any masking tape or anything like that, but I'm just going to try to straighten this out a little bit. And then we're going to put that door pull on there. So I'm thinking like a door pull and maybe some rivets will be enough to sell the story of what's going on with this door. Alright, back to... I set all my brushes down because I was wrapping my hand in a t-shirt to use as a rag to clean up the backside of that door. Okay, now I got this little brush out again. Let's go ahead and start indicating that door pull. And if I want the panel to be like in here, then it's kind of just a continuation, I guess, of that ledge. Come perspective line there, and perspective line here. This will be like, you know what this is, right? Like the metal panel that goes behind. You'll see in a second here. Alright, so now need this to come out. See, now we got a handle on the door. I got a handle on this door, finally. And then we'll put like a deadbolt up here. Highlights on the handle there just to help straighten that out. And then let's do some rivets on this door, and then we'll get out of here. I should use a round brush for this though, because I'm going to want to get the roundness of those rivets. Really messes up my life when you hold it still from here. This comes off the wall just a little bit, and then it's got some big old hinges that come to the wall. And then we'll indicate some shadows and stuff there later. All right, cool. That's gonna do it for today. Thanks for swinging by. Appreciate you. Keep following. We got a lot more to do here. My guess is like another 20 hours. We shall see.